So I'm starting off here with a passage in Sefer Dvarim, the book of Deuteronomy, which goes like this: Al tomar bilvavcha behadof Adonai Elohecha otam milfanecha le'emor betzidchati haviani Adonai lareshet et haaretz hazot uverish'at hagoyim ha'ele Adonai morisha mipanecha. Do not say in your heart, after Hashem, your God, has cast them out before you, for my righteousness, Hashem has brought me in to possess this land. But for the wickedness of these nations, Hashem has driven them out from before me. Lo betzidkatcha uveyosher levavcha ata va'lareshet et artzam, ki birushat hagoyim ha'ele Adonai Elohecha morisham mipanecha u'lema'an hakim et hadavar asher nishba Adonai lavotecha le'Avram leYitzchak u'leYaakov. Not for your righteousness and for the uprightness of your heart do you go to possess the land, but for the wickedness of these nations, Hashem your God drives them out from before you, and that He may confirm the word which Hashem swore to your fathers Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Okay, so this is the point. It is not because Am Yisrael, the Jewish people, whatever you want to call us, it is not because we regard ourselves somehow as having completed some process of moral self-perfection that we can deserve to have the land of Israel as the home for our nation. That's not how the Torah understands this. It's not the case that we have to start by saying, like, well, how does one deserve a land? And make some kind of philosophical game of imagining, like, what would you need to do to deserve a land? And you'd have to have a good society in it. And is our society good? Well, maybe it's not good enough, and go down that road. The Torah is just saying, no, don't bother with that. There are two reasons why Bnei Israel, Am Yisrael, however you want to describe the nation of Israel, should take hold of the land. One of which has to do with heritage, right? It has to do with Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. At the end of the day, HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised the land to Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. This is our ancestral homeland. And so we don't have to think more about it, saying, this is ours, so let's take hold of it, right? But actually the Torah says, no, you can't think a little bit more about it. And the point is then you're going to start scratching your head and saying, well, do we deserve to? Are we good enough? And if you go that route, nope. Stop right there. That's not what you should be doing. What you should be reminding yourself of is that actually you are, in a sense, not good enough. And the Torah goes on, "V'yadata ki lo b'tzidkatcha Adonai Elohecha noten lecha et haaretz hatova hazot l'rishta ki am k'she oref ata." Understand, therefore, that Hashem your God gives you not this good land to possess for your righteousness, for you are a stiff-necked people. Right? It reminds us that we really are never getting it right quite. Kadosh Baruch Hu has all these expectations of us, and He tells us the right way, and we go the wrong way, and He punishes us, and that's been our whole history. And Tanakh is this endless, or it's not actually endless, but a seemingly endless set of descriptions of ways in which Kadosh Baruch Hu asks us to get it right, and we kind of go off the rails and have to be corrected. And that makes us into a highly self-critical nation. We're, in a sense, the nation that may have invented self-criticism at a national level. But all that being said, perhaps because of that, the Torah anticipates a tendency to self-criticism and says, don't think that because you should criticize yourself, that means you don't deserve the land, because that's not how desert of the land works. The way deserving the land works is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu understands that you need the land in order to make yourselves better, in order to develop the right relationship to Him. And so it's a precondition. It's not like a reward for having finished the job of perfecting yourself as a nation. It's, I don't want to say a starting point, but it's certainly a sine qua non, a necessary condition for the further progression of the development of the nation's relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And so the provision of it as an ingredient to that process is guaranteed, both by the promise to Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and also, historically, by the fact that the people who are contesting the land are going to turn out not to be such great people. right? And that's something that the Torah actually mentions multiple times. So in the Brit Bnei Betarim, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu is talking to Avram hundreds of years earlier than this moment with Moshe, he makes this comment, well, right now the Amorites are not so bad, or at least like their iniquity is not mature. So there's this implication somehow that it wouldn't really be good in Hashem's eyes to give Canaan to Avram completely at that exact moment, because maybe there's still some people there who are not such bad people. And that's supported, in fact, by the fact that Avram also has friends amongst the Amori that are mentioned at that time when he's living in Eretz Canaan. But the point is, eventually, that's going to change. And by the time Moshe and Yoshua and the people are coming over to actually take hold of the land, things are different. And at that point, the Canaanim are in this kind of mature state of wickedness where their societies are kind of corrupt and idolatrous, and they're doing all their human sacrifice and their other kinds of wickedness or whatever. And at that point, the land should go to Bnei Israel, but not because Bnei Israel are perfect, but rather because Bnei Israel are going to try to perfect themselves in the land, and they need the land for that. And so HaKadosh Baruch Hu, being the orchestrator of all historical events, has made it so that the people who are there waiting for them deserve to be pushed out, deserve to be conquered, etc. And that's something that we had in the time of the Canaanim, but I think it's a very useful principle also for thinking about, for example, the war of conquest that we have going on in Gaza right now, right? Because it is not the case that we are a perfect nation. That's obvious. It is not the case, even, looking by the standards of the Torah, we have a long way to go. We are, very confused as a nation. There's a lot of schism and fractiousness and disagreement, like we saw during the last year. Even amongst people who claim to be trying to keep the Torah, there's 9 million different ways they're trying to do that. They disagree with each other, pulling in all sorts of different directions. We're very much this Am Qashei Oref, this stiff-necked people that is having trouble doing what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. But despite that, we don't look at ourselves and say, well, do we really deserve, to have this chance? No, we have to take this chance. We have to insist that this is our land. It belongs to us because it was the land of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, promised by Hashem to them and their descendants. And so we're going to take hold of it, and we're going to take hold of it even though we are not perfect, and even though we have all of our failings and everything else. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu almost, it's hard to say like a gift to us, because it's a very bitter kind of gift given what the consequences are for us in terms of what we have to bear as a result. But as a kind of gift to us, HaKadosh Baruch Hu also makes it so that the people we have to conquer and defeat and drive out, and at the end of the day, the ideology we have to struggle against and eliminate, looking, for example, at Gaza, which is ruled by Hamas, this isn't a close call, right? We're not just in a situation somehow where we came to the land of Israel after 2,000 years of exile, and there were somehow a bunch of Dutch people who were pacifists who, welcomed us with presents and gave us a sort of gift package of wooden shoes and windmills. And we feel really bad about the fact that we have to conquer the land of Israel according to the Torah because they seem so nice. That's not the situation, right? I mean, leaving aside the fact that you could also complain about the Dutch if you really wanted to. So I'm kind of being facetious, but that's not the situation that we face. The situation that we face, focusing on Gaza for the moment, we could obviously widen the field and discuss broader complexities, but focusing on Gaza for the moment, we have a situation where a proto-state ruled by people who openly declare their intention to murder all Jews, and who have demonstrated that intention with actions, with tremendous cruelty that has shocked the world for its millennial intensity and ferocity. That proto-state with that set of ideas is what we're up against. And it's like the clearest, simplest kind of instance of what the Torah describes here, that this land is for us, and it's not because we're perfect, and it's not because we're getting it right, but it's because they're getting it way wrong, and they have lost. They have lost in the judgment of HaKadosh Baruch Hu the opportunity to continue to have what they are seeking to have, which is control of this territory, right? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu has arranged it so that some people who are insisting on holding onto the land of Israel and insisting on supporting and upholding and electing a leadership that has a set of ideas that's all about the elimination of the Jewish people and the rejection of the return of the Jewish people to the land of Israel and the use of inhuman murderousness as a kind of tool for confronting the Jews and preventing them from succeeding, that's what we're up against. And we're supposed to have, therefore, the easiest time possible saying, okay, well, I'm not so great. I have to remember that I have all these mistakes. I have all these failings. I have all these things to fix. We have that as a national level, but that doesn't mean that we aren't more deserving in this land than they are. And because of that, hopefully we should have a little bit more motivation to just say, okay, they lose, we win, and then we'll get to work on ourselves and making ourselves better.